Right, so what I'm going to do is just going to talk you through some of the basic sort of garden chemicals that you might have in your shed or you might use in the garden or at work, and some of the chemical warning symbols and why you should follow manufacturer's instructions. So if we look at this yellow sulphur here, which I use to raise the acidity of my soil, if you see there, that's got the chemical warning symbol for harmful, so warning harmful, so that's harmful to humans. So it's probably not going to kill you, but it could cause you some problems. On this white spirit here, which I use for cleaning the paintbrushes, this has got a lot of chemical warning symbols there. So the top one is dangerous to the environment. This is it's flammable. This is it's dangerous to the respiratory system. So if you breathe it in, the fumes are bad for you. So you need to avoid breathing in the fumes. And again, the warning harmful, chemical warning sign again. So it's important to follow the manufacturer's instructions and the, in particular the chemical warning symbols, because you obviously don't want to pose a risk to yourself and make yourself poorly and end up in hospital or whatever. And also in terms of protecting the environment, we need to follow the instructions so we don't damage the environment by using it incorrectly or disposing of it improperly. So here I just wanted to show you an example of some plant food. So this is some tomato, concentrated tomato feed, which you mix with water, and we use that for tomatoes, obviously for getting more fruit, but also other fruit in sort of annual vegetables like chilies, things like that, aubergines. You can use it for that, melons, that type of thing. It's on the back of it. They have very specific instructions of how much you should use. This one, you use 1 in a capful, so you pour the liquid into the cap and then pour it into a watering can with 8 litres of water. So 1 capful for 8 litres of water. Now it's important to follow the manufacturer's instructions for many reasons, but 2 main ones are that if you don't give it enough feed, it's not going to have the desired effect, so it's not going to give you the results that you want. If you put too much feed in there, it can burn the roots, so it can damage the roots. The chemicals can be bad for the roots. It can cause a chemical burn to the roots and obviously damage the plant, and again you're not going to get the desired results that you want. So it's very much important to follow these instructions of how to make it up and prepare it properly. So I've got some other garden chemicals here to show you and talk you through some of the scientific terms, the proper terms that are used for the different garden chemicals. So insecticide is pretty straightforward in that it kills insects. So that's an example of an insecticide. This one's sort of an organic type one, so it's based on sort of oils and things. But you can get chemical ones that act more quickly, maybe, or effectively, but they're not particularly good for the environment. The problem with insecticides is that they tend to kill all insects, so the good ones as well as the bad ones. So I try not to use it as little as possible. I try not to use it. Another one we've got is the slug pellets, so the slug and snail killers. They're called molluscicides. That's the proper term for them. It's a difficult term to remember, but because they are slugs and snails from the mollusk family, it will kill those. These again are organic based, so they've got a chemical in them which will dissolve. It's a natural chemical and it dissolves. But again, they're not good to use because they can get into the food chain. So if a hedgehog or birds come along and eat a slug or snail that's got this inside them, then they're gonna ingest it as well, so and eat it, so that's not a good thing. We've got fungicides as well. I don't have any fungicides, or you don't use them here. They tend to come in spray bottles as well, like this. And fungicides obviously kill fungus, that's what they do, and they stop fungal infections. Herbicide is the proper term for a weed killer, so something like this, what's this called, root blast. So this one, all weed killers are called herbicides. That's the proper term, and they tend to work in 2 ways. Do the the weed killers, they tend to work in either contact, which means that it kills everything it touches, so just everything above ground, everything that it touches it will kill, and systemic, which tend to be things like this root blaster one, which means it's absorbed into the plant's system and it takes it and pumps it around the system so it'll get down to the roots. And with the bigger perennial weeds like dandelions and nettles, brambles, what you need to do is kill those storage roots underneath to prevent them regrowing again. There's two main ways that sort of insecticides and things can be administered, and that they tend to come in either spray form, which is pretty straightforward. It's sort of liquid based, and you squeeze it and you spray it onto the plant. And you can also get fumigants, and fumigants like a smoke or a gas, and those tend to be used for sort of clearing greenhouses and things like that, so buildings. So they might come in the form of like a smoke bomb, and you'll light that inside the greenhouse and close the doors and the windows, and you let the smoke kill any pests and diseases that are in there, so it'll completely clean the greenhouse. And then you open the doors and let the smoke out. Obviously you don't stay in there while the smoke's giving off, because that could be a bit of a problem. Some products have on them what they call harvest intervals, and that's important when using chemicals, because particularly if you're going to eat something, that's where harvest intervals come in. Is that it'll give you a time on the instructions. So again, following the instructions, it'll give you a minimum amount of time that you have to leave it, maybe like 7 days between when you spray the crop to when it's safe to eat it. That means it gives time for the chemical to be washed away or to naturally dissolve or be used up and away from the fruit, so it's then safe to eat. I mean, that's very important if you're doing a lot of crop production for sale, so farms and things like that, or market gardens. If you're going fruit for sale, you need to make sure that the chemical has gone from the fruit before you eat it, and that's what a harvest interval is. It's a time between spraying, that you must leave between spraying and then eating.